Meet John. John has recently graduated from university and immediately took a position at a rural school with a high Indigenous population. John's experience of growing up in a small country town on the south coast of New South Wales enabled him to observe many instances of social inequality, which he thought would benefit him with his teaching. Many of his friends growing up were Indigenous, whom he played sports and went to school with, and as a result has grown up with a huge respect for cultural diversity. It was a quick transition from university graduate to rural teacher, where John was whisked away to begin teaching, all within a week. Before even stepping outside in his new neighbourhood, John was busily making lesson plans for the upcoming school week when he decided to give the students some math questions to ascertain where they are in relation to the ACARA outcomes. On the first day, filled with excitement, John entered his new classroom and was immediately taken aback by the different characteristics of the students and the multitude of games they were playing that he had never witnessed before. "All right, please stop behaving like animals and sit on the floor in front of the whiteboard," he said as politely as he could. He was eager to teach, and so he turned around and wrote 2 times 2 on the board. The students turned around and looked at him. Some continued playing. Some students even rolled their eyes at him. After an unsuccessful day of trying to direct the students' attention to the questions on the board, John was exhausted. Seeing this, the other teachers attempted to comfort him. "That's the usual. We've been teaching here for years and they don't improve. Don't stress, mate." Then another teacher chimed in and said, "Yeah, it's an underachieving school. You'll figure it out soon." John was surprised that no teacher offered actual advice on lessons that worked or that the students enjoyed. One teacher even went as far to say, "I just don't think it is in their culture to learn." John even thought to himself that maybe they were right. Maybe it's just who they are. That night, one of John's friends back home reiterated what the teachers had said by saying, "What did you expect, mate? A low socio-economic area with a high Indigenous population? It's the same back here." John could not believe that these were the perceptions that everyone had, just throwing a blanket over the entire population and dismissing it as the norm. Just then, John remembered learning about the importance of getting to know the students, what their interests and values are. So, after school he set out to visit the children's homes. One after another, nothing but empty houses, and it was getting quite dark until he heard a voice. "Hey, mister, you coming to the bonfire?" A party on a school night? He thought to himself, quite perplexed. At the party, as they sat around a fire, an elder started speaking. He told dream stories of this land and how it was created. He talked about the rain and the sun and how every living thing is connected and vital for their survival. He drew a picture into the dirt. "Finally, mister, now you learn," said one of the boys. "One rain is coming from the east, and one rain is coming from the west," said the elder. "It means big storm, mister," said one of his students. "2 big storms together." A light bulb went off in his head. They do know math. Maybe I could try and make the content I'm teaching more relevant and in tune with their culture. The next day, John was sitting outside. He got his students to sit in a yarning circle and he told stories of where he was from and what it looked like. Next, he drew in the dirt. 2 rain from the east, and comes another 2 rain from the west. 4 rain! They shouted before he could even finish, and just then the rain started pouring down. The students were dancing around and laughing. "See, mister, now you learn." John got up and danced around with them and realised that yes, in fact he was learning how to include other learning styles and abilities in his teaching. This story is a snapshot of the prejudice that Indigenous students and individuals at large are subjected to on a daily basis, whether in school or around the community. The story brings up several key theories that need to be addressed when undertaking teaching and learning. First, the sociological theory of normalization. As Sophie Rudolph, 2011, explains, normalization is when certain actions, learning difficulties, or ideas are thought to be normal for a particular person, family, or demographic. The comments from John's friends exemplify this attitude, as he stipulates that John should have known this would happen because he has seen this behaviour back home and it is deemed normal for the Indigenous population. When a person's behaviour, attitudes, or abilities are normalised, there is a propensity for deficit perceptions to be attached to the person, or in this case, persons. As evidenced by Dr. Nikki Humphrey, 2013, deficit discourse is the practice of using negative language that places blame on an individual, family, or demographic for their perceived deficits. In this case, the teachers are placing the blame for the students' lack of ability and attention in class on their culture. When teachers participate in deficit discourse, it has a trickle-down effect, as following the conversations with the teacher, John himself participated in normalisation and deficit discourse practices through his thinking of this behaviour being normal due to it being who they are. Lastly, this short story exemplifies the neoliberal approach that at times is taken towards educating Indigenous Australians. As Lise Gorond, 2014, eloquently puts it, the basis of neoliberal thinking regarding education is the notion that a level playing field has been put in place for all students and it is up to the individual to take advantage of these opportunities. The neoliberalist fails to acknowledge the traumatic history that Indigenous Australians have endured and continue to do so, and places the blame for their shortcomings solely on the individual. These ideas are present in the story, where the teachers disregard the students' culture and history and dismiss them as unwilling or unable to learn, or both. Sue Stanton, Chi Adachi, and Henk Hoytzer, 2015, elaborate on this with their explanation that neoliberal approaches to teaching judges students' learning achievements in relation to a set of mainstream standards. The short story demonstrates this neoliberal attitude that is prevalent in modern society and education, where the students were judged according to whether they could calculate 2 times 2 in a way that society deems normal, which they were uninterested in doing so. However, when John taught students in a way that was useful and appealing to them, they demonstrated their arithmetical conceptual understanding both with the elder and outside in the yarning circle. As highlighted by Amy Wells, Lauren Fox, and Diana Cordova-Cobo, 2016, as well as the short story, in modern educational settings there is a need for utilisation of culturally rich and diverse pedagogy. When appropriate teaching and learning sequences are undertaken, there are discernible benefits to the students and teachers alike, such as multiple viewpoints and thus a deeper understanding of the content, less prejudiced viewpoints, and appreciation and acceptance of other cultures and history, among many others. Dr. Erica Frankenberg, 2018. When such pedagogies are incorporated and the learning environment is free from discrimination, stereotypes, and prejudice, everyone has the opportunity to an inclusive, happy, and safe education.